Michelle Fischbach. Thank you so much, Congresswoman, for joining us.
Well, thank you so much for having me on today.
Your reaction to this 911 call showing that Biden was sick or injured and no one said a word about it. At the end of the day, he's the president of the United States. Shouldn't we know if he was sick or injured? And if he's that sick or injured, who's running the country now?
Well, certainly we should have known. But, I think it's obviously worse than any of us ever thought it was. And I question whether or not he should still be in office for the rest of his term. They've been covering this up for years and years and years. And I think really, truly what it boils down to for the country is, can we trust anything they say? They've been willing to cover this up and lie for years to allow him to stay in office and to continue their power. So I'm very, very concerned about this, and you really do question who's running the country. One of the questions that I get a lot when I'm out in my district is who's really running the country, and so everybody has questions about that and concerns.
So you're a congresswoman from Minnesota. You clearly know Governor Walz. He finds himself embroiled in this massive firestorm. He's being accused of stolen valor. He said he carried a weapon of war. Turns out it looks like he never saw a day of combat. When you talk to a lot of people in the military, they say that this goes to show more about his character than anything else. This is not something that you can just, make up or misremember. So are you surprised by these accusations?
No, not surprised at all. We've been talking about this in Minnesota for, since he ran for Congress for several years now. And, I think I would listen to his fellow guardsmen who are calling him out on this, calling him out on, his service, calling him out. And we honor his service, but he has tried to make it far more than it really was, and claiming that he was at war. And his fellow guardsmen are calling him out on it and calling him out on the fact that he retired before he was deployed. So I trust them to understand what's going on with this. And, it really is. It's a huge concern. But it says a lot more about Vice President Harris's judgment than anything, because this was already out there. And she knew about it, and she chose him anyway. And so she allowed this to continue.
Do you think Governor Walz was an effective leader during the riots, specifically BLM? We know he waited almost a day before he called in the National Guard. So if he's not doing a great job of running a state, how can we say that he's fit to be the vice president of the United States?
Well, we can't say he's fit to be the president of the United States. I will tell you, it was awful what he let happen in Minneapolis, and just let that city burn. Did not do anything about it. It is almost laughable that they are calling him a moderate now, because he has an incredibly radical liberal policies that he passed while he was president, or while he was governor, just incredible. They had a surplus in the state of Minnesota. They spent all that, and they increased taxes. He is he's radical on abortion. He is trying to make Minnesota not only a transgender mecca, but also an abortion mecca. He even took money away from pregnancy care centers that provide help to pregnant women, because it might actually make them choose life. He is a radical on those issues, and he wants it. There is no way that he in any way, shape, or form can be considered a moderate, and he will take that to the nation.
We have less than a minute left. So what goes through your mind when you see the campaign ads calling him Coach Walz, right? That he's middle America, the guy in the flannel shirt, everybody's grandpa or some, great uncle. I mean, what goes through your mind when this guy literally pushes for tampons in boys' bathrooms, making this the transgender mecca, advocates for no limits on abortion so you can kill your baby up until 9 months, and now they want to portray him as everybody's good old coach, he's on your team.
It concerns me. I know the people of Minnesota understand what he is, because they have seen the policies that are ruining the state. But, one of my big concerns is they make him out to be this great coach, but then yet he goes around calling people weird and thinks that's cute. And that's what a bully does. And they are just trying to call people weird and bully people so that we don't talk about their policies and talk about the failed Biden-Harris policies. And they're trying to gaslight the country into believing that they're just normal, and they are not. They are radical. They are radical, 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 and they want those radical policies spread across our country.
Well, if being weird means that you want a prosperous economy, you want peace in the world, you want a secure border, you don't think babies should be killed up until the 9th month, then I'm the biggest weirdo you've ever met, as I'm sure you are too. Congresswoman Fischbach,
You and me both.
Thank you so much for joining us, ma'am.